How's it going? Welcome to the
Hello.
very first Knightwatch Roundtable. Number one, we've got a DC3 special today. This is going to be an insane stream. So yeah, no, welcome everybody. And again, before I get starting, like there's a lot of things that's happened this week. We just finished the flash drop. We've done we've got this week the James Gunn announcements, and of course the Jim Lee AMA. So we've also got the Battle of the Cowls 2 being run by the by the community right now. So okay, so we're meant to have a couple more people, I guess. We're meant to have Buckaroo, but yeah, without further ado, um, oh, we got Buckaroo.
Hey, can you
Wow.
guys see me?
Hey,
There
Buckaroo,
he is.
how's it going?
Hey, Buckaroo.
Hey, what's up,
Hey,
guys? Hey, Petro, what's going
Hey,
on?
hey,
how's it
how's it
going,
going?
man?
See, this
Oh,
is
wow,
fun.
live
This is
stream
fun,
now. Whoa.
right? This
There.
is fun. So yeah, you guys are live, and yeah. So if you can, just share the links with your Twitter,
Oh,
and
yeah.
get some people
Yeah,
on.
no problem. Let me do that now.
Um, but yeah, no. Again, I'm just gonna like I'll do some introductions for yourselves, and then you could reintroduce yourselves. So I'm
Sure,
Prez.
sure.
Yeah,
I'm
no
trying to
problem.
I'm Prez. I'm trying to change my YouTube handle to Prez in Web3. That has nothing to do with from being a collector to whatever else. This I've done that like yesterday before any other platform changed their banners. By the way, so it's just trying to rebrand myself. We've got Petro, who is a great guy. Hi, it's good to see you finally. You hear him in spaces all the time, and yeah, like a great comic expert. Whenever he talks about comics, it's just so amazing to hear, and we just want to sit there forever and listen to him, right? So we've got a packed day. We've got Hawkman. Hey, Hawkman, how's it going?
Very good. Very good to be with you, gentlemen, and everybody watching. And appreciate you do a fantastic job with this channel, Prez. You keep
Oh,
the energy going on this project, and you keep the attention where it should be, on the excitement, on the anticipation, on the breakdowns, and you always do it with love and excitement. And I really appreciate you having this channel and inviting me on here today.
no problem whatsoever. Again, Hawkman has his own YouTube. I've got all the links down in the description, guys, if you haven't already. All their Twitters, the Hawkman's Gotham City WXYZ Radio. He's always in Discord to help you out if you're stuck as well. So what a great guy, and you would have heard him from the AMA. So we're gonna cover that as well. And finally, we got Buckaroo because again, you were Buckaroo. He hosts every Thursday, and I think he's gonna make it twice a week now with Petro. They host a Twitter space when they talk about this week's DC comics that's launched. Um, hey, Buckaroo, it's good to see you, man. Like, wow,
Yeah,
I, I know you were like flickering between, do I have a bad cowl? Oh, my Snapchat filter's
yeah.
not working,
I'm
kind of thing.
I'm not a big social media kind of guy. I usually don't like my face and stuff out there, but I mean, I figured this is Petro's doing it, you're doing it. I can't leave you guys hanging. I guess so.
Hey,
I
wow, this
feel
is
odd,
great. This
so
is
I
so
gotcha.
amazing. I'm so honored. Well, I mean, like I said, like a lot of people, it's their first time. Like some of them, like obviously, like are in voice as well, coming onto my
Mhm.
channel, telling me about their inventory to begin with. Their collecting
Yeah.
strategy. But again, like, look, it's so great to like that you guys are here. So we have a lot of things to cover today. Um, and yeah, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put can you guys see? But anyway, I just want to put a clap kind of thing, like like. So
No,
I'm so
no,
happy,
no.
Nice.
so happy, so happy. We got a few things to cover here. We got to break down the AMA. And I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna head straight to the do. Just do. Let's do the AMA first because there are so like for me, like me personally, like how did you guys feel about the AMA in general? Like what are your initial thoughts on the AMA kind of thing? Is it I'll go around. Um, what are your
Yeah, I don't know who
thoughts?
wants to go first.
Yeah, Petro.
Yeah. Can everybody hear me okay, first of all?
Yeah,
Everything,
good.
everything good? Okay. Yeah, I was very thankful, number one, for the AMA. Again, I came on later onto the project, so the opportunity to be able to have Jim Lee step up and be in a spaces with us and then take a few of the questions and stuff were very important. The big things for me, my goal going into the AMA was to find out what is the purpose of the comics on the platform itself, meaning, what is the long-term vision of why they're being chosen and how they're being dropped, and is there going to be options for us to read like the full series of books like Crisis on Infinite Earths or the whole Hush series, and that was very important for me because I don't want it to just, are we just going to be having drops coming on, or it's hard to onboard people if there's not a continuity or reason. And I think he expressed it well in saying that the comics are being chosen for either their importance in either a chronologic event that happened in DC, or a character that's important, or something in the line of what they're doing from a continuity standpoint. And that for me is enough for now. I'm obviously going to want to have more, because my big thing has been to go and find out what's going on with like the readers that are out there right now for the digital readers. Like, is this someday going to be is DC3 going to, encompass the DC universe, Infinity reader as well, or what? So that was my big thing. That's all I really was hoping to get. And then the information regarding the rarities, right? Like how they, created those beautiful works of art in the comic covers for the legacies. So it was good.
Awesome. Welcome to Sambo, by the way. He was first, and apparently he forgot about the drop today. So unfortunate, but let's try and pick that up, man. Let's pick it up from the marketplace. But welcome to the stream and everything else. Okay. What else? We've got I guess Hawkman. Do you want to tell us about what you thought about the AMA quickly?
Yeah, I was obviously very much like Petro. It's a concern when you've got people. It seems very geared towards collectors and people that are DC savvy already, and not. I know they're trying to onboard people, but it doesn't seem very welcoming to people that are not DC fans to begin with, and really big DC fans that have read these comics. Because as he said, you get Batman Hush issue 1, and then you're just left hanging with the rest of the story, and it's not available on Web3 yet. And it doesn't seem like that's going to be a timely way. It's one thing when a comic comes out every month and you have to wait 4 weeks to see where the story goes. It's another time when you don't even know when issue 2 is going to come out, if at all. But where it excites me is I think they have an opportunity right now, and I hope they strike, but I don't think they had the information from James Gunn to capitalize on this. But that's an opportunity where a lot of people right now are interested in the stories that have inspired Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters for DC Studios. If he started releasing, okay, here's The Authority, here's Earth 1 Green Lanterns, here's All-Star Superman, people would be very intrigued in those. And by the way, we have unique DC3 covers. We've done covers you cannot get anywhere else that are going to be available in the marketplace. There's only 5,000 available in the world. That kind of promotion, that kind of tie-in to what's going on in the big screen and in DC Studios would be really strong. And I get that they didn't have the information. James Gunn probably did not want to share that information with the DC3 and Palm and all those people to leak out information. But now that it's out, I hope that as those projects come to fruition and start hitting the screen, when we see Creature Commandos next year, I hope that we see a Creature Commandos drop here in the Web3. And that kind of tie-in between the larger DC universe and this project, I think the potential is there. It sounds like they're trying to make it so that it's more relevant to people outside of our project. And that kind of stuff really excites me.
Perfect. Buckaroo?
Oh man, I mean, these guys said it already best, so I don't have too much to add there. But I mean, it was a fantastic AMA, right? I mean, we all heard what we wanted to take out of it, I think, and a lot of positives for sure. I'm most excited for the fact that just they're really gearing towards kind of setting a new stage and a new template for a new generation. Like Hawkman said, yes, you definitely have to have been engaged with DC to some extent to enjoy the fandom to its full extent. But I do think that they're trying to set some new grails here and kind of give us this new idea of like, hey, it's not always going to be focused on Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, right? We've got some cool guys out there, some awesome superheroes and great stories that we're willing to kind of bring out into the fold for the wider audience so we can start engaging with new fans and just new stories in general, man. So I'm excited. And like I said, these guys said it best already. So not much else to add there. So, but very, very awesome AMA, man. Very happy for it.
Okay, I'm gonna kick off some points raised in the AMA. So I'm sure like everyone's watched it. If you haven't, the link is down in the description. With some on that YouTube video, you can also skip to points where without all the waiting and stuff if you listen to it in spaces. So, I mean, the first thing that was covered is well, the grading on the versus the variant covers on old and modern drops. So, as you might know, we're at the moment the current formula is uh I guess a modern then an old comic, and then where the modern comic has different variant covers, and then the old comics have yeah, the worn look to them, I guess, the grading look to them. I'm gonna go around, and I'm not gonna have any opinions, so I'm just gonna go around. Petro, what do you think about how DC has styled this? Personally, as a longtime comic book guy.
Yeah, Jim, I thought did an excellent job of explaining stuff that is exactly what I've been saying on the spaces, right? Like he came at it from a long-term comic book collector. When you're dealing with these legacy comics and you go to comic cons or you're searching for these collections, they're not high grade comics. They're usually a 2.0 to a 4.0 CGC graded comic. And they've got pieces missing, they've got chipping on the corners, they've got stamps, right? Because stamps were very important. And when you had comic boxes come into the stores, you had to stamp them on the date of the arrival, because in the past they used to also destroy a lot of the comics, right, based on things that were unsold and all that other stuff. But they did such, I mean, he said it was very important for them to get that bridge between the physical collector, a true collector that's been hunting these, beautiful grails down for a long time, and the new people coming in that may not really understand why are you getting this weathered, and again, we've got a 10-point scale, and they picked, I mean, for me, they picked perfect, like they did it perfectly, right? Like they just, did such a good job at making sure that those legacy comics have a nice bridge to them. Because for me, the 2.0, the uncommon now is a new vertical, as we've said many times. I think the amount of care and work that he also emphasized, which means a lot. I mean, that means a lot. Plus, it's got the historical aspect of how he defended it on Twitter, and everything else that goes along with it. I think as time goes on, those are going to become very important. Just really quick, the one other thing that I was wanting to ask, but didn't think I'd have a chance, was with the Batman Adventures 12 drop, I was confused for two reasons. One was that they had variant covers for that, which don't exist. But the more important one for me was that the common, which is the actual cover for that comic, was weathered. Like at best, it was an 8.0. I mean, I went through it and I graded it just like I would a normal comic in my collection. And there were, creases, there were press lifts on the back cover. There was stuff there that would have graded it down, and I didn't understand why. And he explained that in the AMA, saying that they've chosen for the moderns, the common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary will coincide with that type of grade that would go for that more, I guess, weathered appearance as well, which was kind of well done. I mean, that's now at least I understand why, you get each of them, but I don't know if it's as important as it is for the legacy comics for me to have that.
Interesting. Okay. Hawkman.
Well, I have not been a long time comic collector physically. There was a long time in my life where I stepped away from comics and I didn't get back into it really until about 7 years ago. And a good friend of mine, he runs a comic shop and was constantly telling me, because I'd go to him and I'd ask him questions about the Marvel movies. You know, what's this character? What's this? He'd say, just read the comic, read the comic. So eventually I started getting into it, and I'm a DC fan, born and raised. And so I said, well, let me get into DC because there's way too much backstories for Marvel. So started buying them. I'm not a collector of like the old stuff. So when I look at when I see something in a shop that is weathered, I know in real life that's very frail, and you have to handle it very carefully because it could fall apart in your hands as you're turning the pages. But in the DC3 space, that aging, that weathered look is by design. It is not frailty. It is a result of work by people and intentional design approved by Jim Lee, the head of the entire company as far as comics are concerned. And that is awesome. But I did find myself, I got the Wonder Woman, the Uncommon, that looked very weathered. And I found myself clicking, like turning the page carefully on a screen, which is absurd. But it takes you into that world because the page looks so weathered, so frail. So it's amazing detail and the transparency where you can see through some pages to the artwork on the other side, and kind of that teaser like you would in a real book where you can kind of see, oh, there's going to be some big action page coming up, including the ads from the past has been a lot of fun. So I've really enjoyed that. And I did appreciate what Jim Lee said about keeping it consistent so that the Uncommon for all the legacy drops are going to be that weathered look. So if you want that, you know you're collecting the Uncommon for all of them. If you want this, you're collecting them. We'll get into some of the other, like the more modern stuff a little bit later,
Yeah.
and the variants and stuff like that. But for the legacy stuff, I really like the attention to detail they've given, because these are digital files. These are pristine at the origin, and they are adding this flavor to it purely for aesthetics, purely for the feel. And that it's intentionally done by DC is pretty amazing, and I think
Yeah.
adds to the uniqueness of collecting.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, just to add to that as well, like all these nuances that they add directly supervised by Jim Lee with like really
Yeah.
deep thought with each detail. It just
Yeah.
sends shivers to me. It's like, oh God, yeah, I need to pick up this Wonder Woman cover, like, you know.
And Perez, really quick, the other factor that he said was that each one of them will also be different. Like they're not just putting the next comic into a filter that's already there for that comic. Each one they're adding its own unique flavor and its being weathered.
Mm.
It's really
And
amazing.
having like, well, when we go to layer one, self custody of these assets, it's just yeah, just don't lose your wallet, but like
Yeah.
an opportunity for just a new age style of collecting and being like new. Every comic that he's covered is just great. Buckaroo, dude. I know that I keep, maybe we'll switch up who gets to say, 'cause every time it
It's
gets
all
to you,
right.
it's like, these guys have
Yeah,
said
these
so many
guys
great.
exhaust everything,
We'll do
right?
you
Like,
first. We'll do you first next
yeah,
time.
That's not
no
fair.
worries,
That's
no
not
worries.
fair.
It's okay. Yeah, no. I actually think it's fine to have done this out of order because I'm more of a what you would call, I guess, I'm more of a modern comic reader. My dad and I was talking to Petro about this. We were just sharing some of our our history in terms of our love for comics, right? And I was telling him, growing up, like I didn't read a lot of these legacy comics. My dad had a lot of them, and he wasn't much of a collector like you, Petro, where he graded anything, but he kept everything in a bin. And it was always accessible and always ready for us to read, just in case he wanted to get it autographed or signed. So he always wanted to make sure that whatever he had was graded or able to be graded later, but had that ability to be, like I said, signed or whatever. Anyway, seeing these legacy comics, man, really kind of touches like a nostalgic feel for me, right? Like just with my dad and stuff, kind of going through these. But I mean, collecting them, it never was a thing for me. I just like to read. I'm a big story guy. I love to know what's going on inside them. So like for me, I'll buy a couple of comics here and there, but you know, the way modern art has kind of progressed, you know, Jim Lee kind of setting the template standard for, you know, what I would consider modern comics, right? It's just, I mean, look at the comics we've gotten on DC3 so far. Like, they're just staggering and mind blowing, right? Like, I love that visual. So it's about collecting that for me when it comes down to it, not necessarily like anything else, I guess, just really the artwork. So, yeah, but in terms of this whole thing, I would love for them in regards to what Petro was just talking about, how they, you know, each comic regarding the legacy goes through its own process of design before they bring it out. I really, and we've talked about this in Spaces plenty of times, but I really would love to see these guys give us that context on like
Yeah.
the design process. You know what I mean? Like, I want that to be a part of the DC3 reader. So when you go in, there's you know what I mean? Like, it just served like the best thing I can come to mind right now is like, you know,
Yeah.
when you
Well,
had the
I'm gonna write that down.
DVDs. Yeah, when you have the DVDs back in the day, you can go to the menu and you could select like all the special features and stuff. I'm kind of looking forward to something like that, you know what I mean, in terms of the
Yeah.
UI, where we can see, okay, select a feature.
Wow.
Here's the backstory of this whole comic and why this was chosen, why
Yeah.
this design process was done, all of it, you know what I mean? And just like some of
Wow.
that verticality to add in terms of like that extra value for certain people, right? Because, dude, I would like, people went out and bought that Jim Lee comic just the other day during the AMA because he said that was his favorite, right? Like, value shot up
Yeah.
like 10, $15 like within minutes. So like things like that add to the value of comics. So I think if we had that context just added in as a feature to the DC3 reader, I think, oh man, yeah, forget about it. You would have
Well,
a totally
I'm
different verticality.
I'm sure people from DC are gonna listen and play back to this.
Hope
I,
so.
yeah. I'm just gonna say hi to the guys in chat.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got
Hey,
King Marquis, Grand Rising.
hey,
Uh,
King.
King.
saying what's up.
What up?
And
We've got Spider. What's up, Spider?
Spider.
thanks, Tyler.
And we got Ant saying all in. Well, you know, let's go. We're all in.
Yeah, definitely. DC all in, man.
Right. The next point that Jim Lee brought up was he mentioned something about like how um oop, let's take this out of chat. Um, so he says that in 2 to 5 years the offering will look different, guided by collectors. So again, that to me is like, you know, he said that really fast, and I was like, what does that even mean? Like, does it mean, well, how is it gonna change? Because obviously to me that added a little bit of a because I know that utilities are gonna be officially ending in, I say, 14 months, right? So we've done 9 months already, so something like that. I can't count right now, but like 13 months. How do you think that might change? And I'll start with Buckaroo this time. Did you have any thoughts on that? Because I didn't. I think personally, I think it's a positive as well because that means like the entire process is being written by us as we go through. You know,
Right.
but someone else might have a different opinion. So
Yeah, no, happy to jump in there. So yeah, I think that's a really good point that he made. And I've been thinking about that. And I see, you know, the current storylines that we're getting, like Dawn of DC, Lazarus Planet, where they kind of open up the option for like readers to kind of take more of an, like, I guess that's a bad phrasing, but, you know, become a little bit more part of the story, I guess, in a way. So I think that they're kind of I mean, we all have talked about this, but they're using us, right, in a good way. DC is just playing the field to see what they can get away with in terms of how to bring us into the story, how to bring us into the fold. So it's going to take some time. Obviously, that 2 to 5 year, you know, timeline is realistic, and I think it's a good one to set, just because of how much, you know what I mean, utility and progress can be made in a project like this. So yeah, I think ultimately, as long as they keep listening, and we've seen that they do, then yeah, I don't see how this project can go wrong because we have passionate people like yourself, Petro, Hawkman, that just do so much for the community and share that love, you know what I mean, daily. And I think that they see that, obviously, and they want to expand on that, and they're just trying to figure out how. So I think that answer that, you know, Jim Lee threw out there was kind of almost more of like a challenge for us, right? More, that's how I saw it. I saw it as like a,
mm,
hey, help us help you, basically, right? Like, how do we
mm,
make your engagement, your immersion with these stories better? And for me, I think it's being vocal, right? It's definitely being vocal, crying. You know, if it sounds like crying sometimes, as long as you're not negative and complaining about it, I'm all for it, man. You know, cry for what you want is what I believe in. But yeah, being vocal and just, you know, making sure you're taking like that full engagement opportunity with these comics, with these things that they're providing us, to really let them flesh them out. Like the GCDK mysteries, like we're going to have spaces on that, like we did, right? Like we're going to be doing things like that as a community to kind of help them see where like the strengths of the community lie and what type of immersion and fan immersion they can bring, you know, for the story moving forward. So again, that's kind of how I took it, but I didn't want to run on too much there. So thanks for letting me answer that.
No worries. Hawkman, do you want to take it?
Yeah, I've always looked at this as us being the guinea pigs for this entire process for
Yeah.
DC and for Palm. And Bat Cowls is the first opportunity for them to see what works, what doesn't, and to grow the project from there. It's not open ended. There is going to be an out date at some point for Bat Cowls as far as utility. And they've promised us at least 2 years. I think it'll go a little bit beyond that. But, you know, we're not going to be here 15 years from now still getting 52-day utility updates on Bat Cowls. But there is going to be other projects. I think there's going to be, you know, so there's the potential for any number of other projects that they could do restarting this. But what I think gets lost with some of these, because every week I'm in Discord a lot, and every week I hear the discussion of, well, this isn't a Grail book. This Dark Knight's Death Metal is not a Grail book. I'm not interested in this. And it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, if that's your view, you know, I can't convince you of it in 2 minutes. But I'm telling you, when Jim Lee's talking about how it's going to be different, guided by collectors, these are unique covers to Dark Knight's Death Metal that you cannot get anywhere else. There are only 4,000 to 5,000 copies in the world. And when somebody 5 years from now, 10 years from now, gets into this project, discovers it, just like we all did, you know, where there's very few people, very few of us that have been in on anything from day one like we were on this. We're very fortunate. But when they discover this project and they say, oh, I want to go get Dark Knight's Death Metal, well, those sold out back in 2023. And you can only get them on the marketplace if they're available at that point. And that's where I think the value is going to fluctuate and be seen. And especially with these grails. I was very fortunate to get one on the pre-sale this morning and was able to get a flash. I don't care what rarity I get. Common, legendary, anywhere in between, all good with me. I have a copy, and I will always have a copy. That my collection is a vault. There's only one way in. It's the Roach Motel. The things go in, they don't come out. So that's going to stay there. But it's my point of what he was saying was that in the future, when people are looking to get in on this project, a lot of the grails and a lot of the modern grails will already have been sold, already be in our collections. And that's when the value and the long-term plan starts to come into fruition, because it's tough to see in the micro each week. But when you look at it collectively and you look back at your collection and what you have, that's when I think you can see the value in it.
Wow, we have Andrew Ward in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, hey, Andrew.
Hey.
He's saying he's loving this discussion.
Mr. Ward,
awesome.
if you're nasty.
And yeah, we got Dr. Batcow, and apparently
wow.
there's 1,100 comics left. Again, we can't be monitoring this right
Nice.
now. It's too much to do. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. Okay, cool. And finally, yeah, Petro. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for me, really quickly, I was one of the guys that came in late. So I'm a collector that found my way here because of the Superman. I mean, I'd seen the the videos of the Gale talking about the Bat Cowls, and I knew about it. But you only have so much time in your day, and I could only get involved in whatever. But when the Superman drop happened, there was just no way I was going to miss it. So I'm one of those people that is a long-term collector that was basically out in the cryptoverse trying to figure out where are other people that I can talk to about comics and my love of DC Comics, because I've been collecting since I was 11. That's about 45 years. And these things are very important to me. The comics that are being dropped are important. So when I look at the timeline, and I know that they talk about the 2 to 3 year, I mean, timelines to me are irrelevant right now, because when you look at also the bigger movement of what's happening, like you said, Prez, like if you step back and see what's going out in the world right now, is we're creating like borderless societies, right? Like, and I found my way to one of those in the spaces for the bat cows, right? Like you have certain rules and regulations and procedures and all this other stuff, and we're all unified by our bat cowls and our experiences on the app, and now these drops with the comics. And it's just a testament to the whole microcosm and macrocosm of DC Universe, in that there's going to be comic book collectors, there's going to be people that want to pick apart the fandoms and find the codes, there's going to be people that are going to dive deep into the gamification side of figuring out you know what I mean, like you're going to find your area. Obviously I'm going to be heavy on the comics side in terms of collecting and experiencing and passing on information and all that stuff. But each one of those things are going to basically develop, like I think what NFTs are going to take their role as is going to be that almost that identity that you're going to have, right? You're going to wear your PFP and you're going to go into the DC universe, or you're going to pick whatever else, my broadsider, and go into wherever I'm going to go with that. You know what I mean? But there's going to be expected rules, regulations, and stuff that we're going to learn. And that's what I'm more excited about, because I've already seen it. I'm already part and in a community that I find entertaining, and I can actually, I never had
a bit too entertaining, really. It's like you're like, where's the spaces, guys? Where's the spaces? Get them on.
There's such a spectrum of people and discussions and stuff, but yet again within that, then I find places like what Buckaroo had set up with coffee, comics and coffee, which is a really nice area. Every Thursday, which is just great, because the people that show up.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sorry.
Oh, Tuesdays and Thursdays now. Wow.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Yeah, the discussions are so good, so good. I mean, I've been blown away by how much I'm learning myself in there. So that's great. Anyways, so I'm thinking when he said that, I kind of already knew that, and I agree with you, Hawkman. We are the focus group. We are the live 24/7 focus group.
Live feedback, right? Oh my God.
Project.
That's almost scary, right? Almost scary. Like they'll know exactly like how you feel as soon as they release it. It's like, okay.
No, but it's great, because that way we get the feedback as well, because we actually can, the transparency, which is so important. We all know that.
So quick. It's honestly, it's like a living organism in itself. Right. I'm going to jump on to the next point just because it's juicy. All right.
Let's go.
So, again, this was discussed in spaces. I'm not just bringing up FUD all of a sudden. We're recapping the spaces. I'm gonna start off with this. Obviously, that was very interesting when Jim Lee came on the proverbial discussion in Twitter, right? Because and I don't want to dwell on that too much. But with what was said, it just blew up the whole thing. The other interesting I found is it's just, again, I'm just gonna stop there, because I don't want to like this to devolve into anything too badly. And actually, does anyone have anything to say? Because I'll probably like shift and move on a little bit from this. If there's anyone,
I just want to say one thing, is that it was a very important moment in time. The historical importance of that, not so much who was involved or what happened, but the fact that it occurred, and that it was related with the very first comic, that it kind of solidified the uncommon as a new vertical, a work of art, really, and the importance of it for us that are collectors, right? Because I came in with that I can reiterate how huge it was. And it's funny, I just want to say one more thing, is when Black Adam came out, there was yet another little thing about it being scanned, because remember the staples, like everybody's like, well, those couldn't be. those couldn't have been created. And I have to say, even myself, I went and got, because I had the comic. I went and got the comic. I'm like, well, no, the staples are up here, and it's on. It can't be a fan. So I mean, that's how good it was. Like that is, I mean, and that to me was the end of it. After that, I was like, okay, I'm along for the ride. I want to see what they do with the uncommons now. And even today is like, I can't wait to see. I want to see the stamp. I want to see the tears. I open it up. I go to the back page. I mean, it's just there's too much there to, you got to appreciate the people that are involved in making that. And I think it's solidified now by the events that happened with that, discussion that Jim, and so thankful that he did that. So thankful. Yeah.
Hawkman, do you have any thoughts on that? I think we will go around this because actually, the thing is, right? I think Jim Lee spent a good 5-6 minutes on this more, because and this is the thing, and maybe we should too, because that's how much time he spent. He spent a third of the space, like saying, "Guys, this is something new, something exciting." Yeah, go ahead, Hawkman. Sorry.
Well, let me. I don't want to suck up all the oxygen from Buckaroo. Let me first of all shout out. That's a beautiful hoodie you got going on there. Jumper,
yeah.
as Prez would say, right?
Superman.
Yeah, that is a beauty, absolute beauty. So let me let
Blue
Buckaroo
Superman
go.
too. Blue Superman too. Yeah.
I'll let Buckaroo
Superman
go
Blue, my
go
favorite.
second on this one, and then,
Okay, go ahead.
I'll jump in at the end.
Such a gent.
Thank you so much. I'll be quick, man, and thank you for the shout outs. It's my favorite Superman. Yeah, no, just going back to what I said earlier quickly, like about that DC3 feature integration. And Andrew, I hope you're listening, man. Spread that on. That exactly what you're talking about, Petro, right? Like you went back to check that comic to see, you know what I mean? Just to kind of line it up. But having that difference adds a different, in my opinion, verticality, or like I said, dimensional aspect of value for these comics on the platform that separates them from the physical, right? So it gives us a different context and perspective on collecting a little bit. So I love, again, like Petro just said, that they definitely solidified that. And we got a little bit of a shout out to the team behind that, you know what I mean? Because I don't think as many people were really familiar how that whole process went down, right? So it was good for Jim Lee to kind of go over that and, like I said, give that, the props to the people where it was due. But yeah, I love it, man. I think it's to me, I love that it's a new, essentially, piece of
asset
artwork,
class.
Yeah. So to me, I'm all for it. I love that they're doing that. And again, I hope it does add that extra, value down the road for certain people that, just love to collect these things.
Sorry, can I just interject there too? I mean,
yeah, of course.
Jim Lee mentioning 3 comics yesterday. Was it only yesterday? Can't remember now. It's Tuesday. No, 2 days ago.
Tuesday.
Yeah, he mentioned three comics, right? Superman 1, today's comic drop that just dropped, and then the one that Hawkman mentioned, which we'll go into as well. I mean, to me, just those 3 coming out of his lips, like it's just magic, right? Sprinkle of magic dust already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that reiterates how important today's drop actually is. It's a legacy book, but it's also the importance of its being the first one where the multi-universe exists, right? Like where it's actually acknowledged, and it begins everything that eventually requires Crisis on Infinite Earths to attempt to, I mean, it's a very, very, very big historical book. Plus, it's got an iconic cover. It's got so much there. So, yeah.
Hawkman, do you hear much about that this topic in Discord? Did you have to fight any fathers in Discord? I don't know. I'm just I know you're on the ground, brother. So what's the news?
Well, there's a lot of I don't I'm not on staff. It's not my job to fight people.
No,
but and I kind of stay in the Bat Cave, which is the Bat Cowl holder only page, right? So I'm talking to, and in there, I take the approach of, if you own a cowl, you own as much of this project. The Bat Cave is your home as much as it is anybody else's. So you can speak whatever truth you want in there. So I don't, but there was a lot of discussion about this, obviously, from people. And it is, as we're all comic book readers, and Petro just talked about it with this Flash 123 that came out today, that established the multiverse. It's such a thing that we all know now and have known for probably our entire lives that it exists. But this is where it started. When somebody went to the comic book shop in 1968 and bought this, it was mind-blowing of, wait a minute, there's more than one Flash. There's more than that. Explains how Jay Garrick and Wally West can exist at the same time, is that they're from literally different Earths. And that made that canon. As soon as you see something in a comic book, it becomes canon and it's real and it exists. And it's no different than what Jim Lee just did 2 days ago. He's saying that in an AMA about this project makes it canon. It makes it legitimate for everything. It's on record now from the head of DC that these are not scans. And if I went to the comic book shop, as I do every single week, and I get my DC comics and I pick up my book, if I saw visibly the staples on the front of the book, I'd be like, can I get another copy that wasn't hand stapled? You know, what is this?
Well,
So
it's
the idea
Staplegate,
that,
Staplegate, right?
no, but the idea that that would be a scan is
Yeah.
absurd to me, because that's not something you see. It's on the spine of the book. It's not in the front of the book. So it was added very well. As Petro said, you can zoom in, you can look at it. It looks very real, but that's the point. All the weathering looks very real.
So good. So good.
But
Yeah.
these are done specifically, like, no matter, even if you collected all the different variants of a comic, there's new variants being created in this project that do not exist in real life. And they're being done intentionally, both for the legacy comics and for the modern comics. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I have some ideas on what they can add, and I'm going to pick up on something Buckaroo said earlier. But I love the work that they put into these, and the enjoying the uniqueness of each grade and each comic that they put out for us.
Yeah. No. I was gonna cover up. Does anyone have any more points for Flash 1, 2, 3, or do you want to?
Just the other side of it was that, just really quick, that the whole point of it being based on the frequencies, right? Like the Flash being able to vibrate at a certain speed, and then it's actually the frequencies that cause the shift. I mean, they have retained that in all the Crises events going forward, right? Like including Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was
the concept. Is a concept.
Yeah. Like the concepts that were in that Flash 1, 2, 3 have been carried on 6 years.
Sending me
later.
shivers. Are you getting shivers? Like when he talks about these things, right?
It's unbelievable when you look back at that book and you just see, wait a minute, this is, you know, especially with the way that they dropped Crisis for us, now the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, and now we're seeing that there's going to be Flash. The movie is going to be based on Flashpoint, you know. So we've got there. It's a very important theme, and I think, and again, they're not dropping these books because they're just dropping the book. It's like he said, it's a very, and when he said it, it was like, click. Okay, now I understand why I'm collecting the comics on the platform here. And I backed off that demand I had, which was like, how do I get all of, like, do I get it in a trade paperback, or how am I going to get all of Crisis of Infinite Earths? How am I going to get all of Hush? How am I going to get all of the beautiful covers for Poison Ivy, right? That was done recently. Like every one of those covers from 1 to 12 are all the variants. They've got the best artists all over the world doing the best art at the highest level ever. And we got one of the comics, you know, I mean, it's amazing. Anyways.
So I'm just gonna quickly just say hi to everyone that's come in. So we've got JA, we've got hey, and we've got Ray saying hi. And then we've got Dr. Batcow saying you guys are doing great. No,
Thank you,
again.
sir.
So I just wanted to, again, this is a brand new point. So can anyone do like a quick minute recap of what's been released and why you don't think it's an accident? What's happening? Because you've just brought that up. Does anyone know off the top of your head? Like, you don't have to name every single comic, but maybe like a run through of why you think this went first and then why this went second. It's going through any theories. It doesn't have to be facts, right? This is like a discussion stream, so because that's a very good point. It's not an accident how these things get brought up.
Buckaroo, I don't know if you want to, I mean, just from your knowledge in terms of the current stuff that's coming.
Sure.
You know,
I was going to
we probably should hurry up too.
If you wanted to take this one too, I know we wanted to go out of turn. I don't know if you want to jump in, but if not, yeah, I'll be happy.
No, by all means. I don't have many theories on this. I thought I had cracked a code in 2022, like October, November. I thought, aha, I figured out how they're doing this, and then it completely blew up in the next few releases.
Yes.
No,
Well,
I wish they would announce, because I don't have any theories, and I'm interested to hear what you guys say. But I wish they
I only
would
have
kind of
3
pull
books.
back. I wish they would pull back a little bit more and explain why this book is being released. This week's comic is X, and here's why it's being released, and here's why it's important. They don't need to tell us what's coming down the road, but just explain to us why this is relevant in the present. And that would help, one, the buzz and the excitement of getting it. Okay, I got this, and it's important because of X, Y, Z.
Yeah, again, just to add to that, like, right? So the pre-production steps being taken, why the one, like, let's say the death metal question that you have later on, like why that was added and changed, and then the subtleties of that, the pre-production, and as you said, the context of, I guess it's up for us to speculate, right? Kind of this discussion, like why did it come? And as you said, yeah, the multiversal thing is gonna have a lot of impact going forward. Buckaroo, I know you have some more things to say.
Yeah, no. So I think this is a great question, man. I think this is definitely
I know.
sparked some
I just
conversation.
popped this out of the blue, and it's gonna make this a bit
I
longer.
love it.
We have so much to cover, but I think we need to do this
it's
for
all
5
good.
minutes. Yeah.
I'll be quick. Don't worry. So I think, Palm and DC, they just tweeted something. I think it was yesterday or earlier this week about the secrets are in the collectibles or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was just a nail on the head for me. And like Petro just said, man, and Hawkman as well, that, they kind of just revealed it, like in terms of what they're kind of trying to do, right? Like, boom, a light went off this week, I think. So for me, it started with the fandoms, right? Like pretty much everybody else, obviously. There were secrets in there, but I don't think, we couldn't piece them together. We had no idea. So back then we had set up a spreadsheet to actually start tracking like significant moments and things that happened in those fandom comics. And it wasn't until this week, Lazarus Planet, that I read the We Once Were Gods, that everything, like, I feel like just clicked for me. And after Jim Lee's AMA, I was just like, holy crap, man. Like, they've got a crazy plan here, and they've been working on it for like 10 years or more, easily. But my point that I'm trying to make here is that I think that, yes, there are obviously reasons why they're doing these comics, and there is a particular order. I think this week with We Once Were Gods ties significantly and very distinctly to the Nubia comic that we have, because what happens in this week's comic, or last week's comic, I should say, brings about a new threat that we probably, were expecting to come about, but haven't really seen anything until about now. So I think that they're trying to build up all of these small elements around each character's, story, to kind of give you a key aspect of like how that might tie in, or this might tie in. So like with Flash, for example, 123, we have the establishment of the multiverse, right? So now we can officially say, okay, this is where it started. This is how that science works, and go from there in terms of how we can start to piece together how these fandoms, these current comics, everything else that we're kind of reading and just going through as a community, how it all connects, right? Like the science behind it. So it started with what, Superman. I would call that the official, just because I think the other two were airdrops for cowl holders, right? We had the Legacy cowl and then the Harley Quinn. So we had Superman.
30th anniversary Harley. Yep.
I honestly am blanking what came right after. I think it was probably Black Adam that came right after Superman, and then God, man, you put me on the spot. I'm so sorry. I completely blanked out.
There's Brave and the Bold, the Wonder Woman.
Yep. We have the Detective Comics first appearance of Robin. We have the Hush series. We have the Death Metal. We have
Crisis on Infinite Earth.
There's just so many. Yep.
Yeah, I think
Dark
Poison
Crisis on
Ivy.
Infinite Earths.
Poison
Ivy.
Oh, that was so good.
Jesus.
That's
I
the
should have
only
came
one.
prepared. I feel terrible, Andrew. I'm so sorry, and everybody else listening.
No,
Don't
are you joking me?
later, please.
Are you joking me? No way. You just said all of it. It's all good. Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so good. Hey, I'm gonna just quickly jump on to the next point. We have so much to cover, and again, we're probably like just gonna skip through these if I know.
I just want to say one important thing. What DC has to hear from the comic book collectors we're tired of the discontinuity, of the reboots, and the whole comic book industry is very upset. Marvel and DC.
Oh yeah.
We need a continuity. Manga is beating them because they have a
Mm,
continuity. You
mm,
start at one and you keep going forward. Great storytelling, great art, great experiences. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here on this platform, because I think this, and I trust DC. I think this is the best chance for that moving forward. So when James Gunn comes out and says, "Hey, we want continuity," now we know what's going on with the comics and in real life that are being released right now, like Buckaroo brought up with the Lazarus, planet, and the dawn of DC, and you know what I mean. Like it's very important right now, especially with the digital aspect that's coming, that we now move forward collectively, because people coming in, we heard it yesterday at the spaces at the coffee and comics and coffee. We had somebody say that, where do I even begin? How can I even start?
mm,
And we need that thing where somewhere we can bring people in and move forward with them and keep them, so that then they'll read the important stories that we can curate, the guys that have been here for a long time, and say, no, you got to read this. You have to read this. It's important.
mm,
You
mm,
got to read the Titans for this importance, right?
mm,
Trigon and all this, and there's a lot more stuff that needs to be done, but DC as a whole needs to move it forward collectively so that people can be brought in, or else we're just going to wither on the vine. It'll be just another reboot,
mm.
which we don't want.
No.
And I do want to emphasize to anybody listening or watching, that is what Dawn of DC is
Yeah.
an onboard point for new readers. They just started this last week with All Star Comics, or Action Comics number 1051 was the official beginning of the Dawn of DC. And it's basically a great point for all the comics. The rest of 2023 are a great place to start if you're new to DC. If you haven't been reading them for a while, you don't have to go back and read 80 years, 10 years, 5 years. Jump in, start reading comics now, and within a couple months you will be up to speed. I promise. It's going to be intimidating at first. You're going to be like, who's this? Why is this important? What's this reveal? Within a couple months you'll be up to date. And DC Universe Infinite gets you comics 28 days after they come out in stores. So you don't need to spend a fortune. Buy an annual subscription to DC Universe Infinite. You will have every comic DC releases, one in the past, so you can go back and read whatever story Petro kicks you onto and says, hey, check this out. This is going to be a great storyline for this character, this
The
character, this
quest,
character.
weekly
Or
quests. Yeah.
yeah, or you can just pick up where from new and start reading stuff as they come out. And within a couple months, you will be well versed, well read. You'll know all the characters, all the storylines, what's going on. Dawn of DC just started, is a huge reboot, or not reboot, but kind of a reset of the DC universe. Everything that happened before still matters, but
Mm,
it's fresh stories starting just last week.
perfect. All right. I'm gonna kick off with the next point. I think Caitlin mentioned this on the January 20 AMA. How they have the skeleton of how they are gonna bring this together already, I believe. But there's also still things that we can influence along the way. Now, because this is where Jim Lee was throwing out every word there. Like he said, like, there's collectibles like the fandoms and the charms he mentioned, right? Because we're gonna cover that too. Does anyone have any points? Do you think that's are you excited? Do you have any theories so far? How Okay, that's cool. And again,
I think we've covered, the comics on the DC3 from our standpoint. And for me,
mm,
I'm very happy with, I mean, the reading experience. I didn't own a prescription to Comixology,
mm,
Marvel Limited, or DC Universe Infinite, because I didn't have any interest in reading digitals. Man, I've read all these ones on the platform. The guided
Oh
reading
man.
of the DC3 reader is bar none what I really enjoy it, and I love being able to zoom in, like we talked about, and see all the work that has been done on the comics,
mm.
and yeah, it's great. It's absolutely great.
That's okay. I think I'm gonna quickly move on from this point. But again, if you guys haven't watched Rubius's interview that I did, plugging Rube now, but he mentioned like he has this theory where this could potentially be a video game at the end. all of the decisions we make. If you haven't read it, I'm just gonna summarize it. So let's say these charms or these decisions, there could be a massive video game at the end where it kind of ties all these things together. Again, it's just and then like some nuggets of information about the charms. But again, we'll talk a bit about more of the charms when we go on. But I think we covered a little bit about the variant covers. The reason why I'm rushing is because we're at 54 minutes and we haven't got to James Gunn stuff yet. But yeah, that's cool. That's absolutely great as well, because this is where the passion comes in. And actually, there's 15 people still here, so they really still want to hear what you have to say, guys. Like, we love
Awesome.
seeing you and everything else. We hear you all the time everywhere else, but it's great to see you. Does anyone have any other points with the variant covers apart from Jim Lee adding subtle things, and then you, Buckaroo, you said like it'd be great to like have a prerequisite of how did this happen before and stuff.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, that would be cool to see. Just like a features, setting, I guess, or some sort of option. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
um,
see, you had mentioned earlier, Buckaroo, and you're, look at the guys you're talking to. You said back in the day when you'd watch a DVD. I was watching Suicide Squad. I was watching the Suicide Squad bonus features earlier this week, getting ready for James Gunn's announcement, watching him discuss how he created that stuff. But you're exactly right that this kind of stuff, because as Petro and as you guys know, there are deluxe editions of historic books issued after the fact, and they have a lot of the sketch artwork or some notes from
Mhm.
the writers and the
Exactly.
artists and the inkers and stuff like that. That kind of stuff would be so awesome to get
Right?
as a DC3. Like, we're not just giving you this comic, we're going to give you a deluxe edition of this comic.
Oh,
So there's
Exactly.
extra content, bonus content in
uh,
that comic as well. That would be amazing. But
I
well,
guess that's a
variants,
better analogy.
every week when I go to the comic shop, I love getting the variants because art is subjective, and there's one cover that just speaks to you for whatever reason. This week, the Lazarus Planet Legends Reborn #1. I went and got.
I got
I looked.
the
Yeah, I got the
katana.
one that had City. I got the one that had City Boy on it. I don't even know who that
Oh,
character is,
I
but
don't
it's
know
yeah,
who
he's
that
a
is
new
really
either.
character.
cool.
Yeah, he's a new
And
character.
it's a
Yeah.
new character, and it turns out it's a new character in that book. And I'm like, well, hot damn! I just liked the look of the cover. So, but my point is, it's same with these DC3s. Like, some of these legendaries, I don't like as much as I like the epic or the rare
Yep.
or the
Yeah.
uncommon or the common. And
Yeah.
so it's a lot of times it's very subjective. And yeah, we all want to pull a legendary when we mint. But like for Black Adam in particular, I'm like, I love the rare copy or the rare
Yeah.
cover myself. So
Yeah.
that's the one I
Yeah.
was going after. So it's all very subjective, and they can. It's each person's going to have something that they want to collect for whatever reason, and that's the fun of it. Is that there is variety, there is something for everybody in under that tent.
hmm.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Agreed.
Well, I just want to say
So,
hi to a couple more people. So the hey Sambo,
Sambo.
he's saying FMV for CGC is 9.2 No brainer to pick one
Wow.
up. People have been still picking them up. I think it's still they're still available. Hit the limit one is now. Too bad I got a few cows and I'm able to buy two, but sheesh, I'm shocked that it's not sold out. I woke up late and figured there was no hope. Good morning to everybody. Good to
Hmm.
see you, Prez, and Buckaroo and Petro, and obviously Hawkman. Dope as dope AF. Let me be clear. Dope AF to see some faces for a change after all the hours spent in spaces. This is what I'm saying. This is such a different experience for absolutely everybody. I know like they've done it on the other stream with Wazo. It was just so good to see some of these people, and you hear all the time every week to see them, and
Hmm.
it's so amazing.
Yeah.
So okay, so moving on to the next point. Yeah, like Hawkman, you just touched upon this again. I'm just gonna kind of, I mean, are you excited for kind of like something to come out like NFT and physical at the same time? Is it something that you're envisioning that might happen in the future? Why you've asked that question?
Well, the reason I asked it is because there was I've been subscribing to DC Universe Infinite for a few years now, and they did a thing with the Joker puzzle box series of comics where they released them same day on DC Universe as they did in shops. And in fact, the ones on DC Universe had bonus content in them. So there was an extra epilogue story in each issue that you could only get
Hmm.
if you were reading them on DC Universe Infinite. And when I look at stuff like Action Comics 1051, which is the official start of Dawn of DC, that to me, I brought that up to Jim Lee, and that was a great opportunity to launch it as a DC3 the same week. And the buzz going of this is a new event, this is a new start, this is a new era, and you can get it right now as a DC3 in limited editions with, again, extra variants, because they had a ton of variant covers for that issue, and everybody got their own. I think I got I got the Alex Ross for the 1050. I'm not sure which one I got for 1051, but the just having some just slight variations that are only uniquely available at DC3 would be great. But I think it's important to get people excited about active storylines. I appreciate the legacy. I appreciate the modern legacies, and I appreciate the recent history stuff. And they kind of did that with Poison Ivy. That's an ongoing storyline right now. They're still going with that book. But as we talked about earlier, when you only have issue 1 and they're on issue 8, it gets, okay, what's the story in between there? How do I get those? And you want to, as a collector, you want to have everything in one medium. So if you're collecting the physical books, you want to get all the physical books. You don't want to have issue 1 on DC3, issues 2 and 3 in physical copy. These other issues I read on DC Universe, and these others I got on Comixology. It just doesn't make it feel
that hurts. That hurts
it's exactly. It's too scattered. So you want it all in one spot. But I think they have an opportunity in promotion. They're doing a lot of promotion for the book anyway as it comes out, and saying this book is coming up. Make sure you get your final order cutoff. Make sure you get to your books. Make sure you do this. Why not include in that marketing that you're already doing? And it's also going to be available on DC3 the same week. 2 days later, you're going to be able to get it in a unique variant exclusive to them. And to Buckaroo's point, adding some bonus content to that would be amazing and would increase the value of that book. Even if it's a normal book, if it's just Detective Comics number 1873, and it's no significance to anything else, but it's a unique book to this medium and this platform, it's going to be more sought after and more collected. And the excitement's going to be there because it's brand new and you're reading it the same week it came out.
So, Hawkman, I'm gonna jump onto this because I know I added you guys to my chat, and I was buzzing. I said when you raised this point about, and then Jim Lee was like, "Well, you asked." I said, "Well, I haven't seen this variant before with the Wonder Woman cover." And do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put it up because it's so nice. It's so nice. Um, Hopefully I could get on. Um, Let me just get online. But when you asked this point, I said to myself, like, I love this because this also existed in another platform. So let me just share my screen very quickly. So yeah, this variant cover, can you guys see that? Yeah.
No, I can't see anything yet.
Oh yes, I have to do a double click.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, I can
That's
download a
nice.
higher resolution file as well. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But
Yeah, you might crash the chat
yeah,
here.
no, okay, yeah, but it's just I think Hawkman, like, what kind of subtle things has he added? I guess the staples, right, and stuff. Like, what has he done in this one?
Well, this is very similar to a variant that was a physical option. And if you click the more there, you'll see who did the cover. I think it was Jung Hyung Lee, but I'm not 100% sure. Over on the right, that you click the more, it'll have the cover artist. Yeah, Ji Hyung Lee did this cover as a variant, and
So good,
it
right?
was
She looks
available
so
in
good.
stores.
Mm,
But the difference is this is zoomed in. You're not seeing the full picture that was on the variant cover. And Jim Lee mentioned, yeah, there you have it on Petro's screen. So you can see the title is different.
Yeah, much wider, right? Like
Yeah.
you have
Yeah, you're getting more of her lasso on either side. You're getting her legs at the bottom. You've got a different placement of the title in the credits, which is now behind her. Now it's down below. And so what Jim Lee talked about was they looked at that cover and they said, we really like this one. We're going to include it as one of the variants, but we're going to emphasize certain parts of it. And so we're going to zoom in on the action of her face, her holding the lasso, her pose, and we're going to change some things here and there. And so that makes it much like you see in the shops, you'll see a slight variation. I think they call them the virgin variants, where there's no titles, there's no ink on there. It's just the artwork. And that, knowing that this is the exact same thing you can get, the book is, but the cover is different. It's a slight variation of an already highly sought after variant in the stores, was very cool to me, because that's one of the things I love is when you talk about the 125, the ratio variants, and the 1 in 50, those are very highly sought after and hard to get in stores. You got to go to a big comic book shop for them to even get a 150, because they're not going to get 50. They have to get 50 copies of a book to get one of those covers. And then if you're going to buy it, you're going to pay top dollar for it. So us getting something like that for $10.99 at Mint, and it's a variation on that variant, is pretty cool. And that, knowing that he's doing that with the modern comics and that these are unique, is really cool to me, and makes it even more collectible, in my opinion.
Look at that. How fierce is she? I mean, I'm just gonna say, right? I picked a couple up, and yeah, it's experiencing some form of magic from you, Hawkman, when you said that. I was laughing in chat as well. But anyway, that's I'm not gonna dive too deep into that. But yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, but it's also an important point, because they are separating themselves, right, from the other platform or whatever. You know, they are spending the time. They understand that these are digital, you know, reproductions, I guess, or, you know, whatever they are, but they're not. They're actual works of art that people are taking the time to take the comic book and create it into a digital NFT that has its own, be it either a weathered appearance or altered in such a way that it's going to optimize the art for the people that are purchasing it and collecting it, which I think is pretty huge. That's really huge.
So moving on to the next point, you know, to be honest, I didn't get too much of what the other guy was saying, because so someone explained it to me. He was saying like, well done for some, like getting through the good fight, or some form of
Oh, that
yeah.
just, I think that was just a reference to, you know, Image Comics and the whole thing of, you know, independent artists and, you know, the major, earthquake that happened when, you know, you had major artists break away from, you know, DC and Marvel and say, hey, listen, we can do this by ourselves and create our own product and not be handcuffed by the difficulties of the bigger corporations. And
Yeah, well, on Spaces, it was picked up by Ruby. It was just like just to hear a fan in his living room actually directly speak to Jim Lee as a utility for Cowls is it's just amazing, just absolutely amazing. Like I think everyone will echo that. And Legacy's last point, um about asking Jim Lee, like, do you even know what Earth we're in? Are we in Earth, 11,544 as Hawkman suggested, or are we in Earth NFT? Which is really funny to me actually when you mentioned Earth NFT. I was just like, please tell me you're joking, please. But anything can happen, Leo. But what are your thoughts on that? Like, what Earth number should we be in? Um,
I'm gonna jump in if you guys don't mind.
no,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Hawkman.
no,
I was gonna say.
No. Go
okay.
get it, Buck.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
Go
say
get it.
first. Yeah, I love Earth NFT. I thought that was a great, like, just little
okay.
nod. Oh man, I thought I've had fun with that all day in the chats. But
Or is it Earth digital collectibles? Oh.
yeah,
Oh.
I think Hawkman came up with the number, right? Earth
All right, yeah,
11,000.
he did, yeah.
Whatever the mint number was, I always forget. But yeah, no, I think that was a great nod. And I think John Lee in Twitter Spaces the other day actually really, and I nailed this down yesterday, that he really hit it on the head, man, when he was talking about, the Killing Joke and, like the Dark Knight Returns, like those stories that weren't canonical at first, but artists and writers made sure that, because they were such great stories and such great parts of like Batman mythos, they had to work those in, right? So I think that's where we kind of stand here in terms of where we might fit in. And I think that's a testament to like how strong the story could become, right? And I think that's one of the things that, kind of is a hinting factor at maybe seeing in the movie, or like seeing some sort of like notion towards the movie in the future, because I think like they put the Batman Brave and the Bold at the tail end of that movie slate for a reason. And I think that they want to kind of work us in at some point as fans, back cowl holder fans, to hopefully anyway, try and get that like direction on how they can apply that to the movie without it being some crazy, you know what I mean? Some crazy all over the place thing that fans just voted on that didn't really have any stickiness to it, right? So, yeah, I'm expecting them to be able to write this, story, this facet of Batman's history into things as we move forward, because we already see that like we got Dick Grayson. We know that like they know, they have a relationship, good standing relationship with Superman, and Superman's had his histories with Brainiac. So like there are those significant things there that already tell us that there is some canon in that, right? So all they need to do is figure out what part of that timeline or history that it can be worked in. So Earth NFT for me just means not there
What
yet,
not?
but we're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
find it. You know what I mean?
And
We're
it's
gonna
so
get
it's
there.
so
So
it's so like relatable as well. Like yeah, to anybody
exactly.
new. Yeah. So I think
Hmm.
he was, I was like, oh my god, this is the word. But at the same time, like, well, actually, for someone new, they might know. Oh yeah, it's what is an NFT kind of thing, right? Like to someone
Right.
new. So again, I'm split.
I
Hawkman.
just picture one big Harley Quinn like charm as like the Earth. You know what I mean? Like when I see it like pan across like all the other multiverses, just like one big charm. Whatever.
We will
But go
cover
ahead,
that. We will
Hawkman.
cover
Sorry.
it.
Yeah.
We will cover it. You've seen the agenda, haven't you?
Well, the thing that excites me about that, because that idea came from the end of Dark Crisis, this last year, when Wally West was chronicling all the Earths he had found so far, and he
The
listed them
Big
all
Bang.
back.
The Big
Yeah, the
Bang.
Big Bang. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Thank you, Petro. And he said it. He had a list there at the end of all the Earths he's found so far, and it specifically said this is a living document, and it will be added to as more Earths are discovered. And so and that brought me back to something that excited me when I first got into this project, is that every one of us had got a bat cowl, and it's unique. There is no other bat cowl exactly like ours. And it specifically told us that we get to write the story of what our bat cowl is, how it came to be, what its purpose is, why Batman created it. And to me, whether it's Earth NFT, Earth 11,544, which is the number of cowls that were minted, whatever it is, if we exist is canon in the DC universe, then every one of us is our own version of Batman in the DC universe somewhere. And that's awesome to me, that I can have my own bat cowl in actual DC canon, and whatever I want that to be will exist. And that's just so much fun as a fan and a collector. And we know that they've created different crossovers, and things come and go as different events happen. At any point, if Earth NFT exists, and maybe it's a metaverse kind of thing, or an
I love
AR
it. Right.
verse, you know what I mean? Where it isn't an actual physical Earth, but it's something that is in a computer, like cryptocurrency. You can't touch cryptocurrency, but it exists. And this could be the same kind of thing, that we are not physical universe, but it is still one that exists, like a Brainiac, like
Oh my God! Stop it.
all these
Yeah.
things that are conceptual
Hmm.
more than physical. And it could be a new era, and that could be imagine the DC characters from 1930s, 1940s discovering that there's a universe that exists on the conceptual level, but still exists, and
How about
somebody like Adam getting in there and involved, and being a part that could travel to and from. There's so many options, and it's such a fun thing to think about. And there's writers and people that are creative that are far better than me at coming up with this stuff. But just
yeah?
the idea that it would exist excites me, because then that opens the door to so much potential.
So I'm gonna open it up to chat. We're gonna go with Petro as well. But what Earth? What should we name this new Earth? That'll be fun, right? What would chat say? I would say Earth. Gosh, I had a really good one. Earth Web 3 might be a good one too, right? Wait, any Petro? Any kind of?
Just my point was that since I've joined, I've been trying to figure out where, are we on the radar? Are we in even the discussions with, Jim Lee, James Gunn, DC? I mean, is there an option for us to be brought in some kind of, continuity with the current timelines? And I think what happened with the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, with them reestablishing the multi universe, not just from what it crisis, but what it is after crisis. Are we still
Yes,
there?
Oh, what
we had a
happened?
technical glitch.
Oh, okay.
We had a
Like, oh.
technical glitch. I think we're still on. Sorry, go ahead, Petro. Can
Hmm.
you continue? Yeah, I
Oh,
know
no,
what
no,
happened there. Yeah.
no. I just was going to say that I think it. I think
Dark Seed. Dark Seed happened.
what we yeah, that's right. What we did with the end of Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths is it allowed the opportunity to really have and access any of the universe. I mean, it allows them now the freedom to bring in and develop stories in areas that they may have been, pigeonholed themselves. And I think that's why it was so important for them to do it the way they did, to include, Pariah again, the Anti-Monitor Chamber, the Dark, the Great Darkness. All those things um, are going to expand the ability for us to easily fall into a continuity if they want us to, and exist, because we already have that book, The Big Bang,
Hmm.
already telling us that there are Earths that the Flash has found, but there are many more that we just have no ability, and those include all the universes that are currently present, all the universes that have been before, and all the negative universes as well. So it's very exciting, and I after the interview with Jim Lee feel much better that, yeah, I think it's just a matter of time. Now it's just
Hmm.
go along for the ride and
Mm.
let it develop. And as the community gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to be difficult not to include us in some capacity,
So
because
Yeah.
we're
before
going to
we,
stream.
yeah, I'm gonna finish up here. But before we go to the next point, I guess I just want to say hi to everyone in chat again. We've got a reveal really soon. Um,
Oh,
Oh,
that's right.
we
yeah.
got Mando waiting to reveal, and then yeah, we're all rooting for people to land legendaries. Brittany
Yes.
was able to grab one, and
Nice.
then yeah, no, that's really good. I think we've got 14 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll kick everyone to go and reveal. If you haven't already, obviously, I haven't purposefully. I haven't done it so that I could do a live reveal. That'd be really fun. And everyone else that wants to experience it with me, because obviously it's more fun in stream.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna do this really quickly. What question should we have asked if I had a chance to? Because everyone was like raising their hands, probably like 100 people, and like, can you imagine hosting that space? Everyone wants to ask Jim Lee a question. I was just gonna ask to see if he'd draw the Battle of the Cows winner or participants. That would have been really cool, like to have something hand drawn by him. But I'm sure everybody wants something hand drawn by Jim Lee, or like a signature or anything like that. Petro, I know you were dying to ask a question to him. This is
Pretty
maybe
much
your
what.
chat.
Yeah, my big question was what Hawkman had said is how, or what is the purpose of the comics
Mm,
on the platform in and of itself? Like I wasn't getting the bigger picture, and I that part of me that collects yearning to have all of the other issues available to me, like I don't want to
mm,
have to go to another reader to get the rest of Crisis on Infinite Earth. So I would love to
mm,
just be able to sit down and just do a guided read through the whole experience, right? 1 to 12, show me everything. Same thing with, the Dark Knight's Death Metal. I mean, my God, that is such a crazy story to be able to have it all in one area. So my question was going to be that is like, how do they envision, is it just going to be like one comic every,
mm,
52 new comics a year? Well, what happens with the stories? Like, how
mm.
are you going to help the people get to those stories and us as well to be able to complete them now
Are
that we
you
want them?
are you more, just to elaborate on that, because obviously there's a lot of time taken for them to produce each NFT, right, and release them. Are you thinking more like, okay, I would love a link to the DC universe for the rest of the
Yeah,
chapters?
yeah.
Are you thinking more like that, not the NFT itself, right? Are you thinking more?
Yeah,
Like,
because I've committed to it. I mean, I'd love to have the
me
the
too. Yeah.
whole trade.
Mm,
I personally, I'd love to like have to burn maybe something and get the
mm,
trade paperback, like actually have the hard copy of all 12 issues or something. And I know it would be very time consuming, but I'm assuming at some point they're going to be able to do something, maybe even maintain the comic book that I buy, but have the whole story digitally inside there, in some
mm.
capacity, right, so that I don't have to go to the reader, or have a link with the book that I buy that takes me over to the reader, and I've signed up for there, but I don't have to pay extra. I can just go and read the comic since I purchased the NFT, right? It's kind of like a token gate for me to get in there, and a utility because I'm purchasing, I'm going for the drop, or I'm buying it secondary off the market. It just elevates it a little bit, because I think to just leave us hanging without the rest of the story doesn't seem what DC, needs to do for it to collect people, reading.
Now, I agree with the links. Like, let's say, all right, I'm releasing this NFT. Also, guys, on DC Universe website, here's the link. Like, sign up for it separate, and it could just be like, oh, that's cool. I love this issue. I'm gonna go over there. So yeah, that's a great shout. It's a great shout. Buckaroo, what would you
Yeah,
have asked Mr. Jim Lee?
Man, I'm a little boring. Actually, I think a lot of the questions and stuff that he talked about were like kind of on my mind already, and he went over it gracefully. Yeah, I didn't really have anything that wasn't asked. I guess
Okay.
probably the most burning question was the Earth, I think, and the comics, and how we're gonna, how we're gonna actually see those stories expand. So I think you guys just covered it, and I didn't want to burn too
So
much time talking about it. But
yeah, no worries. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna do a James Gunn timeline update from yourself. So I'm putting you on the spot. Um, do you have
okay,
the? Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
I know you had the
let me get it ready.
yeah, I know you had it like ready for spaces, so it's not gonna be too
Hmm.
bad. But I'm gonna give you 9 minutes, and then I'm gonna
Oh boy.
reveal. No, no, no. You don't have to finish off, but like I'm gonna
Okay,
I'm
I'm like,
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna cut you to reveal my comic. That's all. And everyone
okay.
else's if you want to do that. And yeah, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew you
Please
had it
feel free
open.
to jump in, guys, too, at any point. So I'll just run down the list the same way I did yesterday or the other day in Spaces, if you don't mind.
Do you have the? Okay,
Yep,
I'll share my screen as
got it
well.
right here.
No, I have it up as
Oh,
well. Yeah, yeah.
give
Hang
me
on.
a sec. Do you need me to send it to
No,
you?
no, no, no. I have it. I have it.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay. All right.
yeah. I
Sorry
have it.
about that.
No,
I'm
that's
gonna run
cool.
down the list. Here we go,
You see
guys.
that? Oh, hang
So
on. Yeah. You
right.
see that one? Yeah.
I'll wait.
There it is.
There we go.
Got it.
Nice. There it is.
All right.
Appreciate that. So yeah, we've got starting it off is going to be Creature Commandos TV animation series. Just something to note on this moving forward. It looks like James Gunn officially stated that the actors that are going to be playing these characters in animated series or things like that in TV shows, they're going to try and keep that consistent across the entire board. So you might see a character acting this, a voice actor for this show might, you know what I mean? You might see the real life character of that person pop up on TV, from what I understand. Petro, are you going to say
Uh,
something? Sorry.
yeah, the way it actually goes is it's not going to be just an animated show. It's actually going to have real life. They're going to jump
Yeah.
in and out of the animation in some creative way, and the voice actor will also be the actor in the live action part of the
Mm-hmm.
show.
And I'm
Which I
wondering
don't
if
know.
that's going to cross over to comics in some way too. If they're going to start to give that
Oh, yeah,
facial familiarity. You know what I mean? Um,
yeah.
so yeah, that looks cool. Next up is Waller TV live action series, and that's going to be with Viola Davis. That is going to basically, I think James Gunn said it himself best, that it's probably going to be one of the wackiest, more crazy out there type shows. And I think it's going to actually connect to the new DCU, because if you guys have read the comics, Amanda Waller's up to no good, man. She's just bouncing all up around the multiverse, is just kind of, or multiverse, I should say, just kind of stirring up trouble and trying to, get rid of the superheroes. So I think she's on Earth 3 right now, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's going to kind of be, the direction they go with this new DCU moving forward, is that she'll be the lurking danger somewhere in the hidden pocket of the universe. Next up, to start the official true beginning of the DCU, is going to be Superman, the Legacy film. I think it's just Superman Legacy. Sorry. That's going to be coming out in 2025 in July. Definitely looking forward to that. I think the word legacy we've all been talking about in spaces we see quite frequently. I mean, the legacy cowl, Just everything about modern comics right now is definitely hinting at that word being a significant one. So, yeah, there's going to be more to that I'm excited to see, just because Superman's my favorite character of all time. That cover, if you guys aren't familiar, Superman, All-Star Superman, or Superman for All Seasons, one of the greatest storylines of all time. It basically, Petro, I think, had broken it down a little bit for us yesterday. It deals with the mortality of Superman and him coming to terms with that, which he does on just a really, really like strong level. It's really cool. I'm not going to go too deep into the story. We'll cover that in Comics and Coffee.
Oh
But
God,
great
like
story.
yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorites. Next coming up after that should be Lanterns. Excuse me.
Oh,
Live action TV show. I believe he said that's going to be focused on Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. Really, really the two best Lanterns you could have picked, honestly, to start, in my opinion. And that's going to be somewhat of like a True Detective vibe. I think he used exactly as the
Oh wow, I
context.
love
So,
that show.
and
Yeah,
yeah, man,
it's
like, can you
dark. It's
imagine
dark.
that? Like,
It's dark as well, right?
yeah,
Yeah. True
and that's
Detective
what
is dark. Like yeah.
It fits well with, I think, what he said too, is that in that show they're going to uncover a dangerous secret. So I would imagine that we might see some hints at the darkness or the great darkness, and some sort of beginnings of, yeah,
Yeah.
the Blackest Night kind of storyline, maybe, kind of hint or poke its head in some aspects. So yeah, that could be really interesting to see, just span across the universe,
Mm.
or multiverse, I should say. The Authority after that, which is going to be a film. I don't know if it's going to be live action or not yet. They haven't confirmed. But that one is very important. That's actually connected to the fandoms we have, man. That's Superman and the Authority. If you guys check
What?
out the Legendary fandom, yeah,
Oh
that's
wow.
that's the
Okay.
team that he well, I wouldn't say hire, but he recruits to go to Warworld, which is a modern storyline for Superman, which leads directly into what Hawkman was talking about earlier, 1051 and the Dawn of DC. Superman goes on this awesome freedom fighter like mission, and hires these guys essentially to come with him to help out because of their past and their powers combined. So these guys are going to be important. I would read Superman and the Authority, just to kind of get a context on some of them. Petro, sorry, go ahead, my man.
No, sorry. This is also very
You're good.
important, right? This links back to Jim Lee. I mean, this Wildstorm was Jim Lee's
That's right.
independent, and
Oh
the
wow. Okay.
yeah, and he sold it to DC later on for like a lot, and the Authority is really, really important for that, and they're all representatives of the current Justice League, right? So you have Midnighter, who's Batman, Apollo, who's Superman.
Yep.
Whatever, Swift, who's Hawk Girl, the Doctor, who is Doctor Strange equivalent, the what's her name, Jenny Sparks, who is Captain Britain, the engineer, who I have no idea who that is, and Jake Hawksmoor, who binds with cities or something. He can, I don't know them really well, but it was really interesting in reading the importance and the tie-in with Jim Lee. So these are, that's a huge connection, and I'm sure because that's going forward, it's going to be an important one as well. So.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and dude, to your point, like, yeah, the characters in that team are just so cool and diverse. Like, for example, Apollo and Midnighter are a couple. Midnighter might be one of my favorite new characters, like, of all time, just because of his, like, whoever writes for him or whoever originally wrote for him and designed him. Fantastic, man. I don't know enough about the character, so I'm butchering his history here, and I apologize, but fantastic character, man. He's just so funny, and just going through like the stories with him. Yeah, he's definitely, like you just said, Petro, the Batman of the team, but in my opinion, a little bit more comedic. He just kind of gets away with a few more things that Batman doesn't really kind of bring. But yeah, definitely an important one. Sorry. The one after that, we've got Paradise Lost, which is based in Themyscira. It's going to be a TV live action series. I believe he used the term. Yeah, he used the term. It's going to be like a Game of Thrones meets DC universe. So, yeah, I don't know what that means exactly, but I never read the Paradise Lost series. Petro, if you have,
I did.
No, I was going to say,
No,
I never got a
Hawkman, are
chance
you in
to.
on that one? I never read that one.
I'm sorry. I was just reading up that this is The Flash sold out, and next week the teaser is Beware the Power of next week's drop. So Green Lantern coming next
Green
week.
Lantern, baby.
100%.
Let's go.
87. Green Lantern
Let's
87.
go.
John Stewart.
Let's
I'm
go,
pumped.
baby.
Let's
Yeah.
Good
go.
Buck
As
fan.
for
News.
Paradise Lost, to bring this back, I have not read this. I'm
Okay.
woefully behind on this one, but I have. There's an entire reading list that they put together on DC Universe Infinite of the announcements, and they said,
Oh,
"Here's
great.
what you just
Okay.
heard James Gunn talk about. Here's the books to read for each of those." So I
Beautiful.
have all of them on my list to read in the months to come.
Okay.
Lovely.
I gotta
Yeah,
read
that one's going to be interesting. I'm sure there's some cool themes in that. So we
Guys,
definitely all have to get on that.
I'm just
Oh,
gonna
go
share
ahead,
my
man.
screen for
Oh, let's see it.
for the
Yep.
reveal. Yeah, I mean, does everyone know what they're having? Were you boring? Did you
I've got
reveal it?
I've got mine ready to go. So
check.
Let's all do it together.
All right, I got you guys.
Everyone get one as well, by the way.
I got one. Yeah. Thank you. Mine went,
Yeah, I
like I
did.
said,
Yep.
I
There we
didn't
go.
have a problem getting mine. I was pretty smooth. So
Yeah.
I was very thankful.
Yeah,
Well,
this was one of the first times I got in like right away. So I was really, really happy and fortunate this morning.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. Beep.
Oh,
Oh, what I
Oh,
get?
what is it?
mhm.
I don't know.
Uncommon. Let's go.
Oh, Petro, that's what's
Yes.
up.
Nice. Okay,
There
I'm
you
happy.
go.
What did you get, Petro?
I got common. I got common.
Ah, okay, all right. Well,
That's fine. No, I'll take it.
yeah,
I'll take
yeah,
it.
yeah. No, again, yeah, you got one. It was
I'll be
just
picking
like,
up-
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
be
yeah.
picking up that uncommon probably as we're speaking.
Well, what I'm gonna do
Yeah, I'm
is
gonna
just,
get. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna check out my mint number. That's all. I know it's not a
I'm
thing.
always common, gang.
Okay, I'm 138, which is good. Great. Thank you, Bat Cows. By the way, if you have a Bat Cows, you get first dibs and mints, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Common. Oh,
Okay.
come on.
You
Okay.
too?
I got
Yay.
a rare.
Why is it-
Yes,
there we go. I'm
Hawkman, let's go.
Nice, Hawkman.
Nice.
Got
Nice.
the rare. Very happy with
Chat,
that.
chat. What did
Boom,
chat
baby.
get? Let's see what chat got. Oh, we've got Common Gang from Andrew Moore. Let's
I'll take
represent.
commons, man.
Let's
I love my
represent.
commons on Legacy Comics.
Come in.
Let's represent the
That's
commons,
right.
Andrew.
Hell yeah.
Uncommon Gang for Anthony. Got an epic in chat. Oh wow, that's a nice one. We've got a rare from Brittany.
Ooh, nice.
And
Nice. Damn.
how do you check your mint number? Oh, that's a long one.
Oh, that's a whole other
Jeez.
story.
Yeah, that's like a whole
It's another
different thing.
space.
Yes, that's a. But I'll send you a message. In fact, I'll just do a quick kind of thing on that
Yeah, why
again.
can't I get it?
Yeah, I probably not supposed to be a thing, but what I'll do is yeah, we'll cover it separately, but it's a website, and then you put your token number in and whatnot. So we'll cover that separately. Okay, sorry. Let's continue with
No
with
worries.
yeah, but thank you
Gotta
for
take time to celebrate, man. Definitely. Happy
yeah,
to see
for
everybody pull some heat, man. Good for you guys. That's
let's
awesome.
go.
But I'll take my common and be happy, man. Trust me.
Well,
Me too,
those
me too.
those legendaries are really funny because they
Oh.
must be really rare because no one in chat or us got one so
know.
far. Like, you know.
Say, I was expecting like one of you guys to honestly hit one
Exactly,
right here on the
yeah.
screen, dude. I'm like, damn.
Man,
It's all good though.
our marketplace is lagging.
Congrats,
now, too.
everyone, anyway.
Everybody's attacking it.
Do you know what? I wasn't
wait.
expecting this to be like everyone to get one. You know, like hello, this is Flash 123. Have you heard Jim Lee talk about it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's been this is like
It's these are very good comics to have be dropping and stuff. So that's great. I'm glad it sold out. I'm glad
Yeah,
see how
definitely. I was gonna say definitely a good sign, and yeah, it's crazy that it took. I'm surprised it took that long to sell out, but I'm sure people were just trying to get on, and there were just probably some setbacks and stuff, but it's all good. And I'll wrap this up quick because I know you guys want to celebrate, and I definitely want you to. Following Paradise Lost is the Brave and the Bold film. That's going to be the Batman storyline, and we'll get the introduction of Damian, guys. That's going to be amazing.
great.
First time. Yeah, first time I think we've seen him on film, right, or any sort of TV series.
Yeah, and to have Damian and not, you know what I mean, because that means that Dick Grayson will be busy with the Titans, which is what I'm really happy about. You know, that's going to be great, and I love the dynamic between Damian and Batman as well. So I think it's going to be really interesting if they cast it correctly.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'm excited for that because I
It's
would
just
imagine that.
a trained
Yeah,
killer. So
exactly. Like just Batman dealing with that. Like, God damn it! Like, chill out.
would you
That's gonna
stop
be
killing
great.
people?
Yeah, like, dude, it's gonna be
We
wild.
don't do that.
I think that film officially begins the Bat family, in the
Oh,
DCU, according to James Gunn. So that's gonna
nice.
be, yeah. Look at him right there, just smug as hell.
Man,
He's
they've
such a
got to
scaredy
get
cat
Damien
sometimes.
right. Oh, please get Damien
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are listening, DC, please, please, please ask us honestly. Like, give us a utility for that 1 month and just let us
I don't want
cast
that
him.
pressure.
We'll do you right. Uh, following the Brave and the Bold is going to be Booster Gold, TV live action film. If anybody is familiar with Booster Gold, he's just kind of a superhero from the future. He's not even a superhero really until he comes back to the present time. He's sort of a joke, but I think he'll be great on film to see, definitely, especially with like James Gunn's direction. But
Oh, sorry
I
guys,
don't.
sorry. We've got a
Oh,
legendary in the house. Let's
oh, congrats!
go.
Nice.
Let's
We got the
go,
legendary.
baby.
Hold on to
Oh,
that.
nice. Congratulations. Wow.
Yeah. Good
Damn.
for
Who
you.
was
Good for
that?
you, kid. Nice for you, kid. Like that.
Damn.
AZNX Wolfie.
Nice. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
well done.
Nice.
Congratulations,
Congratulations.
AZN.
That is excellent, man. Nice to see.
Yeah, it is. I was gonna
Sorry.
say I
That is,
was wondering. I was wondering when we were gonna see somebody. No, it's all good. That's a good celebratory moment right there. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna be Booster Gold. It's gonna be a TV show. Looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun. Following that is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I think Petro was familiar a little bit more with that story. I'm not. It's on my reading list, but Petro, if you wanted to, touch on
yeah.
that one, I don't really know too much about that.
Yeah. Supposedly, once Krypton blew up, there was a piece of Krypton that still had a viable, atmosphere and everything. And Supergirl basically, is raised till the age of 14 there. And that story arc specifically is kind of a complete reproduction of the movie True Grit, if anybody's seen it, right? So I don't want to go too much into that, but it's basically an explanation of why the Supergirl is a lot. She's had a much harsher upbringing, obviously, and is a lot meaner and different than Superman. So it's going to kind of, I think they're taking an interesting, you know, twist out and try to develop Supergirl as kind of like a little different than what we've seen her before on the big screen or on the little screen on TV and stuff, which I think will be which will be very interesting. I hope they can get it right, because if they can, it could be really really well done. So we'll see.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was
I
a
agree.
awesome story by Tom King, and the
Yeah.
artwork was phenomenal throughout.
Yeah. It
The
looks so.
art,
And,
the art
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Oh, man, it
but it
looks so
just
good.
tells such a compelling story and such a unique story that both is familiar because you know Supergirl, you know Superman, you know the powers they have, but it's also very separate from Superman. And this journey, exactly, the True Grit is right on, and it's inspired by that. A young girl sees her family killed, wants revenge, basically hires Supergirl to help her, and they travel throughout the universe in a variety of locations, and each issue is kind of like a different location and a different challenge as they track these people down, and it is so well done and so good. And when they said that, I remember reading it last year and thinking this is going to be the definitive version of Supergirl going forward. So for them to already be adapting it into a feature film, and for that to become what we know as Supergirl, Kara Zor-El of the big screen of this upcoming DC Studios universe, is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, dude, well said. Yeah, I got to get into that, man. You guys just convinced me. I mean, it's on my reading list, but yeah, I got to move that up on
The art is
Oh,
ridiculous.
dude, yeah, I love Tom King and everything. He's always a part of, man. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure. That looks, whew.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
good.
and Supergirl's so misunderstood, man. I love that they're doing that the
Mm.
way they're doing it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I hope they do a fresh take on obviously some female characters that,
yeah.
I've been watching this again, another YouTube clip. Like, it's funny how it ties in, but how like some of them are like, they make it too, like, they're too perfect. Like how some of them could be, you have to be absolutely flawless and alpha to actually stick out. Whereas, it'd be good to have like an in-depth Supergirl, like as
Yeah,
well, like like
definitely.
showing some emotions. And I think it's one of the things I had with the other Superman, like Henry Cavill. Obviously I love him and stuff, but I wish he, you see some more of that soft side, because that's where in my opinion, that's an added depth that some actors get to do, so um like Iron Man perfectly. Like, sorry, I know I'm jumping like kind of things,
No,
but
you're
like
good.
it's it's one of those. It's one of those. I hope they do it right. But yeah. Okay, sorry. Next one.
And no, it's okay. The last one that we come to here is Swamp Thing. Actually, very important and very interesting that they chose to add Swamp Thing into this mix of first slate, in my opinion, because I think what they're trying to touch on here, especially with the comics, and this is what I meant by like when we had Tuesday come about, and I was reading the comic, and we had the announcement with James Gunn and Jim Lee, like it just all like the synapses in my brain were just like, oh, okay, so they're trying to retell or get, like Hawkman and Petro were saying earlier, get everybody who hasn't really had that full history and that they want to onboard, to get them to be like, hey, this is where you can start as a you know what I mean, on a good note, and feel like you're caught up and kind of catch up with everybody else. So Swamp Thing, in my opinion, is a good character for that, because A, he's one of the older characters in DC, but B, if many of you know or don't know, that the Great Darkness is actually introduced in a Swamp Thing comic for the first time. So I'm wondering if that's what they're going to try and allude to at some point. Again, when I said the lanterns, I think that they're trying to say that there's going to be a dark secret uncovered. So I'm wondering if that's going to be the connection between those two, and why they're choosing Swamp Thing to basically give him that respect that he deserves for bringing, you know what I mean, like what he is for a character, just in DC in general, but also that respect of introducing a greater threat. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that that's kind of the direction they're taking. But again, that's why, or what I could see kind of being the underlying theme for introducing him.
The other one for Swamp Thing, I will point out, and you're absolutely right. I went back and read Crisis on Infinite Earths last year from the beginning, and I included all the stuff that the ancillary books, which was Swamp Thing, Alan Moore's run on
Mm-hmm.
Swamp Thing, the saga of the Swamp Thing, and it ends with the Great Darkness. But the other option they have there is the introduction of John Constantine, the introduction of Justice League
Yes,
Dark, and
great point.
if they want to get that world of Justice League Dark brought into the universe, Swamp Thing is a great vehicle to do that, because those characters are all very intertwined, pardon the pun, with Swamp Thing. And it also allows them, which I thought was very cool that they're going to do, is it's going to give them a legitimate horror movie. Not only are there different characters for different people, there's going to be different styles for different people. There's going to
Good
be the
point.
family movies. There's going to be the R-rated movies, the true detective, the more gritty terrestrial stuff, and then there's going to be a flat out horror movie, which is going to be Swamp Thing. And so that allows them to get into that world. And I think that's going to be exciting, because if you watch the show, it only did one season. That was creepy as hell that they did on DC Universe. And just taking that with a larger budget and a larger storyline and making it even on a bigger scale is pretty exciting. But that's the last one we know, and that, remember, is not all of Chapter 1. That was just what he shared with us now. There are going to be additional projects in Chapter 1 that he has not revealed yet.
Awesome. So guys, our time has come to. There is a lot more. Now I'm gonna leave this here because I know I put a couple more points for us to discuss. But I'm actually gonna open the door to say, would you guys come back again for the next, whenever there is a next AMA? Would you be happy to do that and then maybe recap the recent comics, Hawkman, Petro, Buckaroo, the same gang?
Yeah,
Would you be happy to do that? Because
Always.
yeah,
thank you
this
so
was
Yeah.
much.
fun.
Because for me, I'm jumping in, like I'm not too big into comics. Like I'm more into Bad Cows, right? But at the same time,
One sec.
I love like jumping in with you guys with like recapping some of these things. I know you do that in comics and coffee as well, but yeah, this is an extra experience, like seeing your reactions and and like experiencing it with you and yeah and relaying all these points. So I want to thank everyone in chat as well, for being really patient. I know we've gone over like a lot, an hour and 43 minutes, and I know a lot. You guys said like you could do this an hour to an hour and a half, but again, no, thank you so much for being here. We've had a lot to cover. We've had like the comic covers, and the Jim Lee AMA, and then the timeline. There's a lot going on, and the drop as well. So again, it'll probably be a Thursday as well, because it's always nice to get like a little bit of action with the reveals and stuff. So probably same time, not every week, but I guess then the next AMA that might be a good time where we've got a lot of things to talk about and recap.
Okay.
So any closing thoughts, Petro, Buckaroo, Hawkman? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prez, for putting this together and inviting me. I mean, I really,
Oh.
Uh-oh. Did you kick him?
No, I did not kick him. I just wanted to chat.
Oh, boy.
He's there. He's
Uh-oh.
back. He's back. He's back. He's back.
There we go. There
yeah,
we
there I
go.
am.
That's
And,
okay.
yeah, and I appreciate the people that stuck around and listened to us kind of go on about this stuff, and we'll for the next one I'd be very interested with it as well. And again, we just learned so much with every one of the drops and all this stuff in terms of where we're going, and collectively, our job is to the people that are into the comic side of it are just to kind of ground everyone, right? Like this is DC Comics, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Buckaroo? Yeah, no, thank you. Buckaroo?
Yeah. No, I'm just gonna ring on what Petro said here, man. Thank you so much for having us. I didn't think I was gonna be able to muster up the
The
bringing
courage.
my face
Hey,
out
you're a
into the
natural,
world.
bro.
Yeah,
You're
but,
natural.
hey, I appreciate it. Thank you for getting me out of my shell
Thank
here.
you.
So
Hawkman, do you want
yeah,
to
I
close it out?
enjoyed everything about this, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again, Prez, for this channel and this opportunity to get together and talk with all of you guys in the community. And thanks to all that joined us. The one thing that I would love to talk about in the future is the potential for a combination of what we talked about today, the James Gunn, DC Studios, and the comics that we actually read. And for those that don't know, there's a lot of DC imprints, right? So there's Black Label, which is for adult readers. There's Young Animal, Ink Zoom for young readers. Wonder was kind of bringing back legendary characters, Earth Animal Milestone Initiative. I would love
Okay.
an imprint from DC Comics called DC Studios that is a world of comics built around the exact stories that are building in DC Studios that we will see on screens, in games, on movies, in shows. I would love to see that with exactly the characters and the storylines continuing. So hopefully we can talk about that down the road. But thank you for this, and a lot of fun, and congrats to all that got a Flash 123.
Congratulations. Right, that's us signing off. On the description, guys, you find the AMA, these guys' Twitters, and Hawkman's YouTube channel as well. With he's got some exclusive interviews and everything else. So, thank you so much, everybody. We'll catch you in the next one. Hopefully,
See you guys.
not too far away, but catch these guys in spaces.
Yes,
Yeah, we'll be
sir.
there.
Comics and coffee.
That's right.
We'll catch
Like
you
and
guys later.
subscribe,
Thanks
guys.
so much.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye.